Hey folks, I'm Brendan and you're watching the Overqualified Henchman. I had a completely different video planned for this week. It was going to be great, but then Torment Tides of Numenera came out and I spent all week playing instead of preparing for the video, so I guess let's talk about that. Tides of Numenera is a computer role-playing game from inXile set in a world created by the legendary Monty Cook and a sort of spiritual successor to one of the all-time classics of the genre, Planescape Torment. That is a lot to live up to, even more so after a very successful Kickstarter campaign and a pretty long development period. Now, Planescape is best remembered for the innovative way it built the player character, its super dense conversation trees, and really out there setting. And Tides of Numenera set out to deliver on all three of those. It takes place in the Ninth World, a civilization built atop the ruins of a previous civilization, which was built atop the ruins of a previous civilization, which was, you get the idea. Imagine you took Star Trek, blew it up, used the pieces to create Lord of the Rings, blew it up, used those pieces to create The Fifth Element, blew it up, used those pieces to create Shannara, blew it up, used those pieces to create Jack Kirby's Fourth World, blew it up, and you might be sensing the pattern here. What you end up with is a sort of mishmash of genres, where the difference between magic and technology is purely academic. The only thing that matters is, can it get the job done? And how likely is it to blow up in your face instead? See, each of those civilizations left behind their own ruins and broken tools, and the following civilizations did their best to figure out what they were for, or at least what they could get out of them. They also left behind whatever ended their civilization, meaning this world is littered with radioactive waste and killer robots and portals to alternate dimensions. Two of the first characters you meet are basically Liam Neeson as a sort of techno-priest with moving tattoos on his arms, and a woman who can speak with all the alternate versions of herself across realities, some of whom are trying to kill her. But that's just occupational hazard stuff that they don't even really want to talk about. Mainly, they won't shut up about how they used to date and now they're super catty. The first weapon you find in the game is a shard of organic crystal taken from a broken sarcophagus, which you can make a little bit better by using it to poke a mysterious obelisk until it shoots lasers at the crystal and imbues it with energy, like you do. If you use your hand to poke the obelisk, it shoots lasers at you and imbues you with holes. As for character creation, that's definitely interesting too. In most CRPGs, you start out by crafting your character. You decide what they look like, you pick their statistics and their abilities. If you're anything like me, you can probably spend hours playing around with those systems before you ever actually get to the real game. Tides of Numenera starts by asking male or female. You answer and the game goes cool, cool. So you're plummeting uncontrollably from the stratosphere in a body you don't recognize. Good luck with that. See, there's this guy called the Changing God who built a new body for himself, lives in it for a decade or two until he gets bored, then creates a new different body and moves his mind over there. But when he does, the old body he left behind develops its own new consciousness with no memories and no idea what's going on wherever he left it. Those people are called cast-offs, and in Tides of Numenera, you're playing the most recent addition to their numbers. It's a little tough to describe, but you develop your cast-offs' abilities by deciding what kind of person they are. Are they the sort of character who charges the guards before they have a chance to react, or who tries sneaking around the back way? If a companion was taking too long with a task, would they make up a lie to convince them to go faster, or get fed up and just do the job themselves? These choices help to establish that in Tides of Numenera, there's never just one solution to a problem. In my playthrough, I got through the first area, a sprawling city built on the side of a cliff, with fewer physical confrontations than I could count on one hand. Instead, my character turned on the charm to talk their way out of sticky situations, or dug up some information that made for good blackmail material. I could have also used psychic warfare, or yeah, just punched my way through. And depending on my character and who I was traveling with, some of those options would have been easier than others, but I always had the option. The game is also designed in a way where failing at a task doesn't just stop the story, it just means something else happens. Maybe something more interesting than if you'd succeeded. That system encourages you to explore and take chances, to actually roleplay your character, instead of just doing whatever will get you the best net result. It all adds up to build an engrossing world, and I don't want to give away too much of the plot, but it has some really neat mysteries and some really tricky dilemmas to throw at you. That said, it's probably better to think of Tides of Numenera as a sort of interactive novel as opposed to a hack-and-slash RPG. If the idea of even throwaway consumable items having paragraph after paragraph of backstory seems like more of a chore than fun, probably give it a pass. The visuals are definitely weird and wonderful, but most of the storytelling takes place through text. I should also point out that Tides of Numenera ran into the same problem a lot of Kickstarter games do, where some of its stretch goals were maybe not realistic. A good example of this is that the Kickstarter campaign, through stretch goals, promised 8 companion characters, only 5 of which ended up in the finished product. Now, all of those characters are really interesting. My favorite is Rin, an orphan girl that you rescue, who has this rock that she talks to, but insists is actually the god of hiding, which seems like an imaginary friend situation, except in Tides of Numenera, it might actually be the god of hiding. Now, games change from the initial idea through development to the finished product, and I think having another 3 companion characters on top of those 5 probably would have just felt crowded, but they did promise 8 companion characters. So I get why some backers are frustrated. It's not Mighty Number 9 bad, but it's worth mentioning. But if you love Planescape Torment, or it's one of those games that was a little before your time, but you always meant to go back and check out, you really ought to look at Torment, Tides of Numenera. One word of advice, though. When somebody asks if you're a god, you say yes! Thanks for watching. If you've already had a chance to play Tides of Numenera, leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought. If you haven't, go play the game, then come back and leave me a comment down below letting me know what you thought. You should also remember to like, subscribe, and share. Check me out on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and head over to my channel for more videos. Until next time, keep on henching. Oh, and I guess Nintendo came out with a thing this week. I don't really know about that.